The auditorium smells like cheap perfume and older money. Menlo Atherton High. I'm in the back row, slouched in a seat that's too small for a grown man, watching the circus unfold. Up front, Vanessa is holding court. She's got on that ice blue ST. John knit suit she charged to the Amex black I pay for. Next to her, Julian Vance is wearing a Tom Ford suit that costs more than most people's monthly rent. He looks like a peacock trying to mate with a boardroom. He's got his arm around Olivia's shoulders. My daughter, 17 years old today, and she's smiling that tight. Practice smile I've seen her use on telemarketers. Julian has been such a rock. Vanessa is saying to Mrs. Abernathy, the principal's wife. Her voice carries just enough to cut through the pre-ceremony chatter. Honestly, I don't know how we'd have done it without him. He's the closest thing to a real father she's had. I check my phone. 10:14 a.m. Right on schedule. Vanessa's daily ritual of erasing me. I tap a fingernail against the side of my phone case. It's a custom job, unmarked. Matte black. Inside, it's running a forked version of Android I built myself. I open the app labeled Aegis. It's now in the Play Store. It never will be. Mr. Cole? A hand touches my shoulder. It's David Chun, Olivia's calculus teacher. I recognize him from the one parent-teacher conference I bothered to attend 2 years ago. Didn't see you there. Back row? Less dust. I say. My voice is steady. No emotion. Just a statement of fact. He chuckles. Awkward. Right. Well, Olivia's a star. Top of her class in AP Calc BC. Said you helped her with the derivatives? She has a good tutor. I lie. I helped her every night for a month while Vanessa was in Napa networking, and Julian was acquiring new pieces for his failing gallery. I don't mention that. It's irrelevant noise. Up front, the principal steps to the podium. Welcome, families, to the class of 2024. I tune him out. I'm watching Julian. He's leaning over, whispering something in Olivia's ear. She flinches barely, but I catch it. Julian's hand slides down to the small of her back. A possessive grip. He's marking his territory. The audacity isn't surprising anymore. It's just data. When they call Olivia's name, the crowd erupts. Vanessa lets out a shriek that could shatter glass. Julian stands, clapping with exaggerated enthusiasm, like he's at a tennis match. Olivia walks across the stage. She doesn't look at Julian. She doesn't look at Vanessa. She looks at the back of the room. Our eyes meet for exactly one. For seconds, ik give her a single, slow nod. She blinks, and then she's past us, shaking the principal's hand. The ceremony ends in a rush of caps tossed into the air. I stay seated as the crowd surges forward. I watch Vanessa practically tackle Olivia, hugging her while simultaneously positioning Julian's face for every camera lens in the vicinity. My two favorite people. Vanessa gushes. I can hear her from 30 feet away. Julian, you're glowing. Olivia, baby, did you see? We're so proud. Step aside. Vanessa, Arthur Pembroke's gravelly voice cuts in. My father-in-law. He's leaning on his silver-topped cane, looking like a patriarch who hasn't earned a dime of his fortune since 1987. Let the girl breathe. Grandpa. Olivia hugs him, but her eyes are scanning the crowd again, looking for me. I stand up. I don't move toward them. I just watch. Julian leans in, blocking Olivia's view. Come on. Liv. The car's waiting. We've got reservations at the Peninsula. Your mom pulled out all the stops. Where's Dad? I hear Olivia ask. Her voice is small, but firm. Vanessa's laugh is a sharp, brittle thing. Honey, let's not ruin the day. He's around. Probably parking cars or something. You know how he likes to stay busy with the little things. She pats Julian's chest. Julian handled everything. The flowers, the champagne, the string quartet, everything a father should do. That's the line. That's the one that shifts something in my chest from observation to execution. I pull out my phone, open Aegis, tap the icon. A biometric scan confirms my identity, retina and thumbprint. A green light pulses. Phase 1, asset freeze. I hit execute. Across the room, Julian's phone buzzes, then Vanessa's, then Arthur's. A symphony of notification chimes. What the hell? Julian mutters, pulling out his phone. His face pales as he reads the push notification from his bank. Alert, line of credit frozen. Contact relationship manager immediately. Vanessa frowns, checking her own screen. Julian? Is a reservation? Just a glitch. Julian says quickly, but his voice cracks. He tries to smile at Olivia. Tech issue. Happens all the time with these big institutions. I walk toward them. Not fast, not slow, just a steady gait that parts the crowd like I'm Moses, and they're the Red Sea. Ethan, Vanessa sees me. Her smile vanishes, replaced by a look of pure venom. What are you doing here? I told you to wait in the car. Or better yet, go home. We don't need you embarrassing Olivia in front of her friends. Embarrass her? I stop a few feet away. I look at Olivia. Congratulations. Live. Summa cum laude. I saw the scores. 1580 on your SATs. You can get that from his side of the gene pool. I jerk my chin toward Julian. Ethan, shut up. Vanessa hisses. She grabs my arm, her nails digging into my bicep. Go. Now. I look down at her hand, then back at her face. I don't shake her off. I just stare until she drops her hand like she's been burned. I'm not here to embarrass anyone. I say, my voice low enough that only the five of us, me, Vanessa, Julian, Olivia, and Arthur can hear. I'm here to settle accounts. Accounts? Arthur snorts. Boy, you couldn't balance a checkbook if I spotted you the decimal point. Get lost before I have security. Remove you. I ignore him. I look at Julian. Check your other notifications. Julian, the ones from the SEC and the IRS. They're very interested in the consulting fees you've been funneling from Vanessa's discretionary account into your gallery's operating budget. Funny how art appreciates when you're sleeping with a curator. Julian's face goes from pale to purple. You're insane. Those are private accounts. Nothing is private on my network. I say, I pull up a secondary screen on my phone. It's a live feed of Julian's cloud storage. See this folder? Vance_personal. Subfolder, tax_evasion_2023. Very creative naming convention. By the way, I'll send the metadata to your lawyer. Assuming you can still afford one after freeze hits your personal assets in, 3 minutes. Vanessa stares at my phone screen. How are you doing this? Ethan, what is this? Is this some kind of joke? No joke. Vanessa, I say. I step closer, lowering my voice further. You wanted Julian to be the father figure? Fine. Let's see how well he fathers himself out of federal indictment. I've been monitoring your traffic for 18 months. Every email, every text, every Venmo transaction between you two. It's all there. Time-stamped. Geolocated. Signed with your private keys. I look at Olivia. Her eyes are wide, but she's not crying. She's listening. Processing. Good. Live, I say. Softer now. Your college fund is intact. It always was. It's in a blind trust Julian couldn't touch if he had the nuclear codes. Everything else? The cars, the clothes, the lifestyle? It was all leased. And the leaseholder just called in the debt. Ethan, please. Vanessa whispers. Tears are starting now. Real ones. The kind that come when the mask finally slips. Not here. Think of Olivia's reputation. Her reputation? I interrupt. I turn back to Vanessa. Her reputation is tied to her grades, her character, and her future, none of which involve a mother who prostitutes her marriage for a seat at a country club, or a lover who steals from a child's education fund to buy blow and bad art. Julian finds his voice, stepping forward aggressively. You think you're some kind of hacker god? I'll sue you. I'll bury you. I have connections. Your connections are about to disappear. I say, cutting him off. I tap my phone again. Phase 2, reputation management. I just sent a curated selection of your connections, a preview of your financials. Specifically, The part where you use Vanessa's money to pay off your ex-wife's alimony under the table to avoid tax penalties. You're not a player. Julian, you're a data point. And today, the data set is being scrubbed. Arthur leans heavily on his cane, his face a mass of fury. I'll fix this. I'll call the bank. I'll call the partners. You'll be homeless by sundown. Cole, I finally look at Arthur. Call them. Arthur, use your cell. Go ahead. I pause. Oh, wait. Your cell service just got cut for non-payment. Seems a family plan I've been subsidizing for the last decade just expired, along with your country club membership, your box at the symphony, and your winter lease in Aspen. You're welcome. By the way, I carried those losses for years to keep Vanessa happy. But happiness is expensive, and I'm done paying the premium. I turn back to Olivia. I reach into my pocket and pull out a small, encrypted drive. Here. This is everything. I tell her, proof of the theft, proof of the affair, proof that I'm not the deadbeat your mother painted me as. It also has a full scholarship offer to Stanford, MIT, and Caltech, pre-approved under my name, Ethan Cole, not Vanessa's husband. The choice is yours. She looks at the drive, then at me, then at Vanessa, who is now sobbing into Julian's shoulder, though Julian looks too busy checking his rapidly dying phone to care. Dad, she starts. It's okay. I say, you don't have to decide now. Just know the truth. The man who taught you calculus isn't the one wearing the $5,000 suit. It's the one who knows the value of $1 because he's the one who earned every single one of them. I don't wait for a response. I turn and walk toward the exit. Behind me, I hear Julian's voice, shrill and panicked. Vanessa, my car. The app says it's been repossessed. I smile. I didn't repossess it. I just triggered the low jack and the finance hold. Same result. As I push through the double doors into the bright California sun, I hear the microphone at the reception area. The one Vanessa spent $2,000 to rent for the post-graduation speeches. Emit a sharp, piercing feedback loop. Screech. I don't look back. I get into the nondescript Tesla, waiting at the curb. Sarah, my analyst, is behind the wheel. Phase 1 complete. Ethan, she says, handing me a coffee. Asset freeze confirmed. Julian's gallery is surrounded by FBI agents as we speak. Arthur's lawyer just called 3 times. I take a sip of the coffee. Black, no sugar. Good. I say. I look at the rearview mirror, watching the high school shrink into the distance. Now we move to phase 2. Let's see how they like living in the real world, where I'm not the background. I'm the architect. Sarah pulls into traffic. And Olivia? She's smart. I say, she'll figure out. If she doesn't, well, I've got more data to analyze. The car merges onto the 101. The hum of the electric engine is the only sound. No drama, no screaming, just a quiet, efficient execution of a plan 18 months in the making. In the back of my mind, I'm already drafting the code for the next phase. Project, reclamation. Let them have their graduation photos. In a year, no one will remember Julian's face. But they'll remember the day the ghost in the machine finally spoke. And they'll remember the name Ethan Cole. The peninsula's ballroom smells like overpriced gardenias and stale ambition. I'm in the corner by the service bar, nursing a Macallan 18. Sarah's voice is a low hum in my earpiece. FBI just walked into Vance Galleries. Julian's Instagram is blowing up with people asking why his lifestyle posts stop mid-sentence. Arthur's lawyer left 3 voicemails. Want me to patch him through? Block the number. I say, my eyes are on the head table. Vanessa is dabbing her eyes with a monogram handkerchief. Julian is standing now, tapping a butter knife against a water glass. The room quiets down. Family, friends. Julian begins, his voice carrying that practice, oily charm. I'd like to propose a toast. To Olivia, to the future, to the man who made today possible, to me, for guiding her through these formative years while others checked out. A few polite chuckles. Arthur nods approvingly. Vanessa beams like she's just won a pageant. I take another sip of scotch. Sarah, kill the house audio. Route it through my phone. Routing. She confirms. You're live in 3, 2, 1. I tap a key on the secure terminal in my palm. The ballroom sound system emits a sharp, high-pitched squeal, feedback that makes Julian wince and clutch the mic. Then, silence. Wrong. I say. My voice comes through the speakers. Calm, amplified, impossible to ignore. Try again. Julian, tell them who really paid for the tuition. Or should I? The room freezes. Heads swivel. Julian's face goes the color of old plaster. Ethan? What the hell? I'm the man who stayed home, so you could play dress up. I continue, standing up slowly. I don't raise my voice. I don't need to. I'm the man who monitored the network while you siphon money from a child's college fund to buy overpriced Cabernet and underpriced escorts. Shall I list invoices? Vanessa is on her feet. Ethan, stop this. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I walk toward the head table. The crowd parts like I'm contagious. Or am I correcting the record? You've spent the last hour introducing Julian as Olivia's real father. Let's talk about real. Real money. Real power. Real consequences. I stop 10 feet from the table. Julian tries to step in front of Vanessa. Pathetic. I look past him at my daughter. Olivia is sitting very still, her eyes locked on mine. Sarah, I murmur, patch in the financials. Screen 1, on the massive LED wall behind the head table, the one Vanessa rented for a fortune to display memories. My custom interface pops up. It's a live feed of Julian's primary account. Red numbers, negative balances, frozen assets. Recognize this. Julian? I ask. Chase private client. Account ending in 8842. Current available balance, negative $412. Overdraft fee pending. Gasps ripple through the room. Arthur's face purples. He jabs a finger at me. Turn that off. Turn it off right now. Can't. I say, it's not your screen anymore. It's mine. I own the IP address. I own the bandwidth. I own the debt. I glance at Vanessa. Speaking of which, Vanessa, darling, try your Amex. She fumbles in her purse. Pulling out the black card, she waves it at a nearby waiter. Charge my drink. Put it on the tab. The waiter runs the card. It declines with cheerful beep. The machine prints a receipt. The waiter looks mortified. I'm sorry, Mrs. Cole. It says insufficient funds. Insufficient. Vanessa stares at the card like it bit her. That's impossible. Ethan, fix this. Fix what? I ask. The reality? The card's linked to an account I funded. I closed it at 10:15 this morning, right after the national anthem. Julian's phone starts buzzing incessantly. He pulls it out, staring at the screen in horror. My gallery, the lines of credit, they're all gone. Ethan, what did you do? Due diligence. I say, I flagged the irregularities in your inventory reports. The SEC's algorithms picked it up in about 6 seconds. Turns out, listing a print of Warhol as an original is considered securities fraud. Who knew? I walk closer to the table. Julian backs up a step. You're a psychopath. He hisses. You hacked me. That's illegal. Illegal? I laugh. It's a cold, dry sound. Julian, you've been using devices connected to my home network for 18 months. My network. My terms of service. Section 4. Paragraph B. All data transmitted through Aegis protected infrastructure is subject to monitoring and logging. You agreed to it when you connected to the Wi-Fi. Remember the splash page? Welcome to the Cole residence. Click to accept. You clicked. Julian, you consented. I turn Arthur. Same goes for you. That iPad you used to check your portfolio? Registered to my name. Every trade you've made. Every insider tip you've acted on, logged. Time-stamped. Ready for the FTC to review. Arthur's cane clatters the floor. Your cipher. The ghost in Forbes. The one who bankrolled the Pentagon's firewall. Finally, I say, someone remembers. I wonder how long it would take you to connect the dots. Arthur, I kept you solvent after the '08 crash. I covered your margin calls. I even paid off that little gambling debt in Macau you thought no one knew about. Also, Vanessa could play socialite without realizing the latter she was climbing was bolted to my spine. Vanessa is shaking her head, tears streaming. Why? Why are you doing this? We're your family. Family? I repeat. I pull up another screen on the LED wall. It's a series of emails. Julian to Vanessa. Subject lines. Dumb bitch. Gold digger. When is the old man gonna croak? The room reads along in silence. Julian's face collapses. Those were private. Ethan, you can't. I can. I interrupt. Because they weren't private. They were data. And data belongs to whoever secures it. I secured it. I archived it. And now, I'm sharing it with your investors. Julian, with your board, with your ex-wife, who's apparently been wondering where her alimony went. Olivia stands up. Slowly, she looks at the screen, then at Julian, then at her mother. Is this true? She asks. Her voice is quiet but cuts through the tension like a blade. Did you steal from my college fund? Julian opens his mouth, closes it. Vanessa reaches for her. Honey, it's complicated. Complicated? Olivia's eyes flash. She turns to me. Dad, is the fund really gone? No. I say, yours is in a blind trust. Untouchable. Julian was skimming from discretionary pool Vanessa gave him. About $200,000 over 14 months. Small change in the grand scheme, but enough to buy a lot of lies. I look at Julian. You want to be a father figure? Here's your first lesson. Don't steal from your kid's future to fund your midlife crisis. Second lesson, never underestimate the man you're replacing, especially when he's the one who wrote the code you're standing on. Julian tries to lunge toward me. Two of the waitstaff, actually Sarah's contractors, step forward and restrain him gently but firmly. Easy. One murmurs. Mister, Cole wouldn't want a scene. Ethan, please. Vanessa sobs. We can fix this. We can be a family. Just turn it off. Turn everything off. I look at her. Really look at her. The smeared mascara. The desperation. The total lack of understanding. It's already off. Vanessa, the moment you introduced him as her father, you flipped the switch. I just let you see the dark. I turned to the room. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the reception. Drinks are on me for the next 7 minutes, until the final settlement clears. After that, I suggest you find your own rides home. Mr. Vance's car has been repossessed. Mrs. Cole's accounts are frozen. And Mr. Pembroke's credit lines are closed. I walk back to my corner. Sarah's already there, packing up the mobile terminal. Clean exit. Ethan, she says, SEC has frozen Julian's assets. Arthur's lawyer just issued a statement distancing himself. Vanessa's trying to call an Uber, but her account's linked to the same card. Good. I say, I finished the scotch. What about Olivia? She's still at the table. Sarah says, glancing over, staring at the drive you gave her, not crying, just thinking. She's my daughter. I say, she'll figure it out. I look at the chaos one last time. Julian is screaming at a waiter. Vanessa is begging a guest for cab fare. Arthur is clutching his chest like he's having a coronary. Let's go. I say, Phase 2 is complete. Time for Phase 3. Sarah hands me my jacket. As we walk out, I hear the sound system click back on. This time, it's playing Bach. Logical, ordered, predictable. Unlike the mess I'm leaving behind. In the car, I pull up the live feed from Olivia's phone. She's opened the drive. She's reading. And then, she does something unexpected. She looks up directly at the hidden camera in the ballroom rafters and gives me a slow, deliberate nod. Message received. I close the app. Home. Sarah. The penthouse or Atherton. Atherton. I say, time to pack. We're burning the house down. Sarah smiles. Already drafted the demolition orders. I lean back against the leather seat. Outside, the California sun is bright. Indifferent, just the way I like it. Behind us, the peninsula's ballroom windows glow with the reflected light of 1,000 screens displaying a single name, cipher. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Let them learn. The ghost is done haunting. The architect is moving in. The Atherton house feels like a mausoleum. I'm in the study, pulling drives from the wall-mounted server rack I had installed behind the bookcase. Sarah's on the secure line, patching through the final asset transfers. Front door slams. Heels on marble. Vanessa's voice, raw and loud. You bastard. You absolute bastard. Do you have any idea what you've done? I'm a laughingstock. Julian's been arrested. Arthur's having a heart attack in the car. I don't look up from the raid array. He's not having a heart attack. His blood pressure spiked, and his personal physician told him to lie down. I got the alert on his pacemaker 30 seconds ago. Drama doesn't suit him. Vanessa, or you, she storms into the study. Her hair is a mess. Her makeup streaked. She's still in the blue suit, but it looks cheap now. I want you out. Get out of my house. I've called the police. They're going to drag you out of here for hacking and theft. I finally look at her. The police? On what charge? Monitoring my own network? Protecting my own assets? Vanessa, sit down. You're hyperventilating. And we both know you can't afford the medical bill if you pass out. Your network? Your assets? She lets out a strangled laugh. This is our life. I built this. You spent. I correct her. You spent money I put into accounts you thought were bottomless. You spent money I moved through shells to keep the IRS off your father's back. You didn't build anything. You curated a lifestyle on a loan you didn't know you'd signed. I closed the server rack. The hum of the cooling fans dies. Silence. Then, footsteps on the stairs. Olivia. She's changed out of her graduation gown into jeans and a hoodie. She's holding the encrypted drive I gave her. Dad, she says. Her voice is steady. Is it all true? Which part? I ask. All of it. She walks to the desk, sets the drive down. The money laundering. The SEC. Julian's gallery being a front. Mom knowing about the skimming. Vanessa moves toward her. Olivia. Honey, don't listen to him. He's manipulating you. He's always been jealous of Julian, jealous of how much you two connected. He's trying to turn you against me. Olivia doesn't move. She just looks at her mother. Did you know he was taking money from my fund? Vanessa hesitates. It's a fraction of a second, but it's enough. It wasn't like that. Julian he was investing it. For you, for our future. Your father he twisted everything. I didn't twist the ledger. I pull up a clean interface on my tablet. Here, transaction logs. Julian Vance. Account 8,842. Transferring $15. 000 to Vance Gallery operating expenses. Note attached. For Olivia's artistic development. 3 days later. Same amount withdrawn from ATM outside the Bellagio in Las Vegas. Same weekend Mom was in Napa networking. I look at Olivia. I have the geolocation data. I have the surveillance footage from the casino floor. He was there. She wasn't. The math isn't complicated. Olivia picks up the drive. And the prenup? Ironclad. I say, until she violated the morality clause. Subsection 4. 1. Adulterous conduct resulting in financial malfeasance. I buried it in the metadata of the PDF she signed. She never read it. Her lawyer never scanned it for hidden layers. Amateur hour. Vanessa's face twists. You set me up. You put that clause in there knowing I'd eventually find someone as greedy and stupid as you. I finish. No, Vanessa, I put it there because I knew you'd eventually find someone exactly like Julian. Men who see a meal ticket and start counting the cash before the ink is dry. You made the choice. I just provided the consequences. Footsteps on the porch. Heavy. Arthur stumbles in. Supported by his driver. His face is still red, but his eyes are sharp with fury. Cole, he growls. You're finished. I've spoken to Judge Whitmore. We'll have an annulment by morning. You'll be lucky to walk out of here with the shirt on your back. I stand up, slowly. I walk around the desk. Judge Whitmore? The one whose re-election campaign I anonymously funded last year? The one who owes me a favor for burying that little insider trading scandal involving his son-in-law? Arthur, you're not threatening me. You're providing me with a list of people I haven't ruined yet. Arthur jabs a finger at me. I'll expose you. I'll tell the world who you really are. Cypher, the ghost. They'll come for you. The feds, the press, everyone. Expose me? I laugh. Arthur, I've been exposed to the Department of Defense for a decade. I'm the reason your retirement portfolio didn't vanish in the last market crash. I'm the reason your country club didn't go bankrupt during COVID. You're not exposing me. You're announcing my presence. And trust me, no one wants that. I turn back to Olivia. Liv, look at the second folder on the drive. Pembroke Holdings. She does. Her eyes widen. These are Grandpa's companies, but they're all shells. There's no actual capital here. Just debt. Exactly. I say, Arthur's empire has been insolvent since 2009. I've been propping it up with liquidity injections from Aegis. Quietly, efficiently, until today. At 2 p.m., the last bridge loan matured. I didn't renew it. By Monday, Arthur's name will be worth less than the paper his stationery is printed on. Arthur sways. The driver grips his arm tighter. You wouldn't. I'm family. You're a liability. I correct him. And I've just finished auditing the books. The tax liens alone will take a decade to sort out. The SEC investigation into your offshore holdings? That starts Monday morning. I suggest you find a good bankruptcy attorney. One who doesn't bill by the hour. Because you won't be able to afford them. Vanessa sinks into a chair. Everything? You're taking everything? I'm reclaiming what was mine. I say, the house, the cars, the art, which, by the way, is all either leased or counterfeit. Julian originals are mostly high-end prints. I have the provenance reports. Even the family heirlooms in the attic? Bought at auction with my money. I look at Olivia. The only thing in this house that's truly yours is the trust fund and your education. Everything else was a stage set. Today, the theater closed. Olivia looks at her mother, then at Arthur, then at me. What happens now? Now, I glance at my watch. In approximately 4 minutes, the automated security protocol will engage. The locks will change. The alarms will reset to a new biometric signature. Mine. Anyone without clearance will be detained by the local PD, who are already en route for a wellness check requested by a concerned neighbor, me. Vanessa's head snaps up. You're locking us out? Ethan, we have nowhere to go. You have Julian's studio apartment above the gallery. I say, or Arthur's golf course trailer. Plenty of space. Or you could try the peninsula again, though I suspect they'll require a deposit this time. Arthur finds his voice. Trembling with rage. I'll fight you for custody. I'll take Olivia away from you. You'll never see her again. I look at him, then at Olivia. Go ahead. Try. Subsection 7. 3 of the custody agreement, drafted by my counsel, signed under duress when you threatened to cut Vanessa off if she didn't agree. It states that any attempt by the Pembrokes to interfere with Olivia's primary residence or education constitutes parental alienation and triggers an immediate transfer of full legal guardianship to me. Permanently. I step closer to Olivia. Liv, the choice is yours. You can stay here tonight, or you can go with them. But understand this. If you leave with them, you're choosing a life of debtor's court, repossessed cars, and explaining to your friends why your grandfather is selling autographs at the county fair. Stay with me, and you start Stanford in the fall, funded by a trust they can't touch. Advised by people who actually know how to build something that lasts. Olivia looks at the drive in her hand, then at her mother, who is silently weeping, then at Arthur, who looks like a deflated balloon. She looks back at me. I'm staying. Vanessa lets out a choked sob. Olivia, no, he's brainwashed you. He's a monster. No, Mom. Olivia says, her voice clear. He's the only one who didn't lie to me today. The front doorbell rings. Sarah's voice in my earpiece. Local PD is at the gate. They have the warrant for Julian's arrest and the civil standby order for the residents. Do you want them to escort the guests out? Send them in. I say. I look at Arthur and Vanessa. Showtime. Try not to scuff the marble on your way out. It's leased. 2 uniformed officers enter the study. Mr. Cole, we have an order to facilitate the removal of personal effects for Mrs. Cole and Mr. Pembroke, and a pickup for Mr. Vance at the Peninsula. Julian isn't here, but Vanessa pales anyway. Arthur starts shouting about his rights. The officers look bored. They've dealt with wealthy meltdowns before. I nod to them. Officers, please ensure they only take items from the approved list Sarah sent over. Anything with a serial number registered to Aegis Holdings stays, including the shoes. Mrs. Cole, they're Valentino. Least. Vanessa lets out a wail and sinks further into the chair. Arthur is half dragged toward the door by his driver and an officer. Olivia watches them go. She doesn't cry. She just stands there, holding the drive, looking at the empty doorway. Dad, she says quietly, was it ever real? Any of it? I walk over to her. I put a hand on her shoulder. The love was real. The marriage was a contract. The money was a tool. Today, the tool changed hands, and the contract expired. I look at the servers, now silent. This house was a server farm for lies. Now it's just a house. Tomorrow, we start building something real, something that doesn't need a firewall to survive. Sarah appears in the doorway. Ethan, transport is ready. The movers are handling the lab equipment now. I nod. I look at Olivia. Ready? She takes a deep breath. Yeah, let's go. We walk out together. Behind us, the officers are guiding Vanessa toward a waiting sedan. Arthur is already in the back of a town car, screaming into a dead cell phone. As we get into the Tesla, Olivia looks back at the house. What about Mom? She'll land on her feet. I say, she's resourceful, in a parasitic way, but she'll never touch our world again. Sarah pulls away from the curb. The gates of the Atherton estate close behind us with a heavy, final clang. Olivia looks at the drive in her hand. So what's next? Next? I lean back against the seat. Next, we go to the office. I show you what I actually do. And then, we start rebuilding. From the ground up, with real materials this time. She nods, slipping the drive into her pocket. Okay, but Dad? Yeah, thanks for not letting them win. I don't answer. I just watch the California sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of fire and ash. The ghost is gone. The architect is home. And the foundation is finally solid. The Atherton house is quieter than a server room at midnight. I'm in the master bedroom, pulling the last drive from the hidden panel behind the walk-in closet. Sarah's voice is crisp in my ear. Local PD cleared the premises. Vanessa and Arthur are en route to a short-term rental in Redwood City, furnished through a holding company I set up this afternoon. Julian's arraignment is scheduled for 8:45 a.m. tomorrow. His public defender already tried to call you 3 times. Block the number. I say, I slide the drive into the case. Any movement on the custody filing? Judge Whitmore signed emergency order an hour ago. Full legal and physical custody to you. Pembroke family visitation rights suspended pending psychiatric evaluation. Vanessa's attorney is screaming conflict of interest, but Whitmore isn't returning calls. He knows which side of the firewall he's on. I zip the case shut. Olivia is standing in the doorway, watching. She's changed into a Stanford hoodie I had in the car. Dad, Mom's downstairs. She's not leaving. I sigh. Of course she isn't. I walk past Olivia, down the curved staircase. Vanessa is in the foyer, sitting on the bottom step like she's waiting for a bus. Her face is puffy, her hair a mess. She's clutching a single designer handbag, the one Sarah forgot to flag as leased. Ethan, she says, her voice raw. Please, just talk to me. One last time. I stop 10 feet away. You've had 18 months of warnings. Vanessa, this is a negotiation. It's an exit interview. She stands up, swaying slightly. Exit? This is our home. I raised Olivia here. I hosted the charity galas here. You can't just erase me. I'm not erasing you. I say, I'm removing you from a system you no longer have credentials to access. This house, the cars, the accounts, they were never yours. They were resources I allocated. The allocation is terminated. She takes a step toward me. Resources? Is that all we were to you? Me? Olivia? Just data points? You were variables. I correct her. Variables in an equation I was trying to balance. But you kept changing the inputs, skimming from the output, corrupting the data set. Eventually, the system had to reboot. Tires on gravel. A sleek black BMW pulls up outside. Arthur gets out. Leaning on his cane, he looks smaller. Somehow, defeated, he stumbles into the foyer. Cole, he rasps. Don't do this. Don't take my granddaughter. I'll give you anything. Name your price. Your price is 0. I say, your net worth was a rumor I allowed to circulate. Your influence was a permission I granted. Both have been revoked. He looks at Vanessa, then at Olivia. Livy, sweetheart, come with Grandpa. We'll go to the club, have some lunch, talk about things. Olivia doesn't move. She stays on the staircase, watching, silent. Vanessa reaches for her. Olivia, baby, please, don't let him do this to us. He's a monster. He's stealing your life. Stealing? I repeat. I pull up a document on my phone. Project it onto the blank smart TV screen Vanessa installed last year. Let's review the custody addendum you signed last March. Vanessa, Section 4, Line 12. Primary guardian agrees to maintain full transparency regarding all financial interactions involving the minor's trust. You didn't. You had Julian's withdrawals. You falsified expense reports. You committed custodial fraud. In California, that's a felony, punishable by up to 3 years in state prison. Vanessa's face drains of blood. That was just paperwork. I didn't understand. Ignorance isn't a defense. I say, especially when your signature is notarized. Sarah? Sarah's voice comes through the speakers. Ethan, I just forwarded the signed affidavit and the forensic accounting report to the Santa Clara County DA's office. They've opened a preliminary investigation. Expect a subpoena within 48 hours. Vanessa sinks back onto the steps, whimpering. You're ruining my life. Over what? A few $1,000s? Over principle. I say, over the precedent that you don't steal from a child and call it lifestyle maintenance. Over the fact that you let your lover play father while the actual father was the only one monitoring the accounts. Arthur tries to step forward. I'll fight this. I'll hire the best lawyers in San Francisco. We'll drag this through the courts for years. You'll do no such thing. I interrupt, because if you file a single motion, I'll release the audit of Pembroke Holdings to the Wall Street Journal. Every shell company, every offshore account, every tax dodge you've used since 1998. Your name will be mud before the ink dries on the complaint. You'll be bankrupt before the first hearing. He stops. The threat lands. He knows I'm not bluffing. I look at Olivia. Liv, last chance. You can go with them, or you can come with me. Choose. She looks at her mother, sobbing on the steps, at Arthur, looking like a broken old man, then at me. She walks down the remaining stairs, past Vanessa, past Arthur, and stops beside me. I'm with Dad, she says. Clear. Final. Vanessa lets out a wail. Olivia. No, he's brainwashing you. He's a psychopath. He'll do to you what he did to me. Control every aspect of your life until you're nothing but a puppet. No, Mom. Olivia says, turning back. He's giving me a choice. You never did. You chose Julian. You chose the money. You chose the lies. I'm choosing the truth. Vanessa stares at her, mouth open. Then she lunges, not at me, at Olivia. Her nails claw for her daughter's arm. I step between them, fast. I grab Vanessa's wrist, twisting just enough to immobilize her without breaking skin. Enough. She struggles, but I'm solid. Let me go. Ethan, let me go. She's my daughter. She was your project. I say, now she's my priority. Sarah, initiate protocol Delta. Initiating. Sarah confirms. Security system active. Biometric locks engaged. Non-resident profiles purged. The lights in the foyer dim. Then reset to a cool white. A soft chime echoes through the house. The front door clicks audibly as the deadbolts slide home. You're locking us out? Arthur whispers. Horrified, with Olivia inside. Olivia is a resident. I say, you are not. The house is now a secured facility. Unauthorized entry will trigger a silent alarm to the Palo Alto PD and a non-lethal deterrent system I installed after the third break-in attempt last year. I release Vanessa's wrist. She stumbles back, cradling it. You're a monster. She breathes. I'm the system administrator. I correct her, and you've lost your login privileges. I look at Arthur. Get her out of here before the automated perimeter patrol activates. He hesitates, then hooks an arm around Vanessa's waist, dragging her toward the door. She's limp, crying. He shoots me one last look of pure hatred before shoving her out the front door. The locks click again, sealing us in. Silence returns. Olivia lets out a shaky breath. Is it over? The extraction is complete. I say, the legal proceedings will take months, but the physical separation is done. This house is ours now, yours and mine. She looks around the foyer. It feels empty. It feels secure. I say, tomorrow, we change the locks again, reprogram the biometrics, erase every trace of them from the smart home system. By next week, this place won't remember they existed. I pick up the drive case. Come on, let's finish packing. Sarah's waiting. We walk upstairs. Olivia pauses outside her old bedroom. What about my stuff? Pack what matters. I say, clothes, books, the telescope I got you for your birthday. Leave the rest. It's contaminated with their energy. She nods. Going in, I head to the study. Sarah's on a video call on my tablet, showing me the real-time feeds from the security cameras. Vanessa and Arthur are standing on the sidewalk, arguing with the driver of the BMW. Useless. Ethan, Sarah says, one last thing. Julian's gallery just filed for Chapter 7. The FBI is seizing assets as we speak, and Vanessa's Amex is officially reported lost/stolen. She won't be buying anything on credit tonight. Good. I say. I watch Vanessa sink onto the curb, burying her face in her hands. What about the trust? Untouched, triple fortified. Olivia's college fund is now in a blind trust under the name Cole Schmidt Educational Foundation. Vanessa's name was removed as co-trustee 15 minutes ago. She has no legal pathway to it. Perfect. I say. Olivia emerges from her room, a single duffel bag over her shoulder. Ready? She looks at the bag, then at me. Yeah, let's go. We walk downstairs. The house feels different already. Lighter, less poisoned. I disable the interior sensors, and we step out into the cool evening air. The Tesla is idling at the curb. Sarah is behind the wheel. As we pull away, Olivia looks back at the house. Will she ever come back? Not here. I say, maybe to a courtroom, maybe to a parole hearing if the DA decides to prosecute. But this house? No, this is a clean environment now. Sarah glances at me in the rear view. Protocol Echo is ready whenever you are. Ethan, the new residence is prepped. Full security suite installed. No digital footprint linking it to the Atherton address. Engage it. I say. I look at Olivia. We're going somewhere new. Somewhere they can't find us. Somewhere we can build without looking over our shoulders. Olivia leans her head against the window, watching the trees blur past. Dad? Yeah, thanks for not letting her take me down with her. I don't answer. I just watch the road ahead. The extraction is complete. The cleanup begins tomorrow. But tonight, for the first time in years, the system is stable, and the administrator is finally at peace. The penthouse on Harrison Street doesn't feel like a home. It feels like a terminal. Olivia is curled up on the low-slung sofa, scrolling through her tablet. Sarah's voice is a low hum from secure comms in my ear. Julian took a plea. 18 months. White-collar dorm. Vanessa's consulting 3 divorce attorneys, but none will take her case without a retainer. Arthur is selling the Napa Vineyard to cover the IRS lien. The Journal ran the Pembroke expose this morning. He's radioactive. I grunt, eyes on the code, scrolling across my main monitor. Any pushback on the custody ratification? Judge Whitmore signed off yesterday. Full. permanent custody. Vanessa's visitation petition was denied without prejudice. She'd need a court-ordered even send a letter now. Olivia looks up from her tablet. Dad, there's a piece in the Chronicle about Julian. They're calling him a cautionary tale. He is, I say, not looking away from the screen. A poorly coded one. His algorithm for fraud was amateur, reused invoice numbers, predictable timing, sloppy. She sets the tablet down. Mom called the landline at the old house. It rang here. I picked up. I finally turned. You didn't have to. I know. She shrugs. She was crying, begging me to tell her where we are, saying she'd change, that she never meant for it to go this far. Olivia pauses. I told her I was safe, and that I wasn't going to lie for her anymore. Then I hung up. Good. I say, lying for her was what kept her in the game. Truth is the only firewall that works. Sarah chimes in. Ethan, the Stanford Board of Trustees just sent the official acceptance package for Olivia. Full ride under the Cole Schmidt Merit Scholarship. They want a photo op for the fall newsletter. Decline the photo. I say, transfer the scholarship funds to the general endowment. Anonymously, Olivia's attendance is a private matter. Done. Sarah says, also, Arthur's lawyer is requesting a meeting, offering to drop all countersuits if you agree to a mutual non-disparagement clause. Tell him the only clause I agree to is the one that keeps his name out of my daughter's mouth. I say, and if he pushes, I'll leak the recordings of him discussing insider trading with his golf buddies at Cypress Point, the ones from 2019. He'll remember. Olivia stands up, walking over to the floor-to-ceiling window. The city sprawls below us, a grid of light and data. It's weird not having her around, nagging me about my hair, or my grades, or who I was hanging out with. Peace is weird. I say, chaos is familiar, but familiarity isn't safety. She turns back. What about you? Are you going to keep doing this? She gestures vaguely at the monitors, the servers humming in the adjacent server room. Hunting people? Destroying lives? I'm not hunting. I say, I'm maintaining system integrity. There's a difference. Hunters enjoy the chase. I enjoy the silence after the breach is sealed. I minimize the code, bringing up a new interface. But no, this, I tap the screen, isn't the end game. It was never about revenge. It was about reclamation of my time, my resources, my daughter's future. I look at her. You want to see what I really do? She nods. I lead her into the adjacent room, the heart of the operation. It's not a lab full of bubbling beakers. It's racks of GPU clusters, humming with liquid cooling. On the central monitor, a complex neural network is mapping global financial transactions in real time, flagging anomalies in crimson. This is Aegis Core. I say, version 4.0. It doesn't just protect my assets. It tracks systemic risk, fraud patterns, predatory lending loops that target kids like you. It identifies the Julians of the world before they can do damage. Olivia steps closer, peering at the data streams. So, you're not just a ghost. You're like an immune system. Close enough. I say, the world runs on code. Bad code causes crashes. I find the bugs. Sometimes I patch them quietly. Sometimes, when the infection is malignant, I have to quarantine the source. And Mom? Julian? Arthur? She asks softly. Were they bugs? They were malware. I say, exploiting vulnerabilities I allowed because I valued peace over precision. I won't make that mistake again. She's quiet for a long moment. Then she asks, what about the award? The one from the Cybersecurity Alliance? Sarah said they want to give you Man of the Year. Declined. I say, fame is a DDoS attack on your attention. I don't have the bandwidth. But what if you used it? Olivia says, turning to me. Her eyes are sharp, focused. What if you didn't hide? What if you showed people how the system works? So they don't get tricked by the next Julian or the next Arthur. I study her. She's not asking for pity. She's asking for strategy. That's a high-profile play. It brings scrutiny. Risk. Risk is better than being a victim. She says, you taught me that. But maybe the best way to protect people isn't just burning it all down. Maybe it's showing them how the fire started. I lean against the server rack. The hum is steady, reliable. You're suggesting a shift from defensive architecture to educational infrastructure. I'm suggesting you stop being the ghost, she says, and start being the teacher. At least sometimes. I look back at the monitors. The red flags are blinking, but the system is holding. Stable. For now. Sarah, I say. Yeah, Ethan. Draft a press release. Under my name. Short. Simple. On the nature of digital trust and the cost of complacency. No mentions of family. No names. Just the principles. You sure? Sarah asks. Surprised. I'm sure. I say. I look at Olivia. And schedule a meeting with the dean at Stanford. Computer Science Department. I want to discuss setting up a fellowship for ethical hacking. Under Olivia's name. Olivia's eyes widen. Mine? You're the one who found a bug in your own life. I say, might as well teach others how to spot theirs. Sarah's typing furiously in my ear. Release drafted. Meeting request sent. You're going to break the internet. Ethan. Good. I say, let them try to trace the signal. They'll find a firewall made of truth. I turn back to Olivia. This isn't a fairy tale ending. Live. The world's still full of people trying to exploit the code. But we've got the admin rights now. And we're going to use them to build something that doesn't need hiding. She smiles. A real one, not the type. Practice one from the graduation stage. Okay, so what's the first lesson? I gesture to the monitor. Lesson 1. Power isn't about making people fear you. It's about having capacity to burn it all down and rebuild something better, and choosing exactly when to do it. And lesson 2, I hand her a secondary terminal, already logged in with restricted privileges. Never trust the UI. Always check the source code. She takes the terminal, fingers hovering over the keys. I can do that. I know you can. I say, now, let's get back to work. The system isn't going to secure itself. We turn back to the screens. The red flags blink. The code scrolls. Somewhere in the city, a woman is sobbing into a disconnected phone. A man is screaming at a banker. A fraudster is counting bars instead of dollars. But up here, in the quiet hum of the penthouse, the architecture is new, and it's finally, irrevocably, ours. Sarah's final update crackles in my ear, Aegis core stable. All threats neutralized. System integrity at 100%. Copy that. I murmur. I glance at Olivia, already deep in a line of Python. Stand down. Sarah, we're just getting started. The ghost is gone. The architect is awake. And the new build is compiling perfectly.